Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user RightNose8825. Am I the a-hole for saying I won't go to my friend's wedding after she dropped me as her maid of honor because of my looks? Sophie and I, both 27, have been close friends since we were 4. We're not the speak every single day Lauren Susanna type friends, but I genuinely considered her a sister and her parents like an aunt and uncle. Our families are close. My whole family is invited to her wedding, as is my boyfriend's family. My boyfriend is Sophie's brother's best friend. That's how close we all are. So I wasn't really surprised when she asked me to be her maid of honor, and I think I've been a good one. Well, 2 weeks ago, Sophie, the other bridesmaids, and I went to try on bridesmaid dresses. I thought we all had a good time and that it was a successful trip as we found dresses. Apparently, not really, because a couple of days later, Sophie asked to meet me. She asked that I step down from being maid of honor. She said seeing me in the bridesmaid dress made her realize she just didn't want me stealing focus from her and that she wouldn't feel good standing up there knowing everyone was probably comparing us. I was so hurt. I admit I cried right there in the coffee shop, partly because I never wanted her to think that anyone would be thinking anything other than that she was the most beautiful bride on her wedding day. And partly because I was just so excited to be up there with her and she was kicking me out over something that I couldn't even control and wasn't really true. So I said fine, it's her wedding. If she didn't want me there, I wouldn't be. But I wasn't going to come to the wedding as a guest when clearly my presence was going to be a burden to her. Sophie said that wasn't what she meant, and I asked her to explain. She said she desperately wanted me there, so she was going to put aside her feelings, but she wanted pictures at the altar to be with her looking the best and to have that moment with everyone looking at her up there. She also wanted me to tell everyone I dropped out because I was too busy. I said none of this felt fair and I wasn't going to lie for her. I was a good friend and did nothing wrong and she was being a brat, but that was her prerogative and I didn't have to play along. I told my boyfriend about this, who was pretty horrified and agreed that if I didn't want to go, I shouldn't, although he still is because he's friends with the groom. But my mom and stepdad think I would be the a-hole if I don't go. My mom said it's also been obvious that Sophie was insecure. I never noticed this, and that she can understand where she's coming from. She said I've had the spotlight our whole lives. Again, I don't think this is true. Sophie is far more outgoing and well-liked than I have ever been. And even though it's pretty sad, maybe she does deserve to be the princess on her wedding day and I shouldn't hate her for it. She says I'll regret missing the wedding over this. My stepdad says I should go because she's my oldest friend, and even if she's being unfair, sometimes you have to let people be irrational. I really don't know now. Sophie and I have so many mutual friends, there's not a lot of people I can ask about this without it getting back to her, so here I am. I feel like maybe I'm being a jerk having this blow up, but I don't see why I should even stay friends with someone who would exclude me from her wedding partly over something superficial. And clearly, she's been sitting on these feelings forever. Not to mention, I already paid for her whole bachelorette party and the bridesmaid dress and contributed to the cost of her wedding jewelry. And now I just feel used. So am I being a petty a-hole by refusing to go? No, Opie, of course not. It's just as you stated. She has every right to take you out of the wedding party, and you have every right to decline an invitation. It is not mandatory. Now, the reason why she wants you to lie about it is because she knows it's a crappy thing to do and she's embarrassed by it, but she's gonna do it anyways. Why? Because of her insecurities that have nothing to do with you. And it's right there in the phrase. She doesn't want you standing next to her and comparing you two. That means she's always compared herself to you. So no, I don't think you're the a-hole for not going. I don't know how you're gonna get some of that money back though. That might be the cost of letting go of a crappy friend. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Pollywoggle16 says, not the a-hole. Cancel everything that you can to get some money back if possible. This friendship is done. Responsible Judge 007 says, not the a-hole. Your stepdad says, sometimes you have to let people be irrational. Well, you let her be that, but that doesn't mean you need to do what else they want. Maybe she's your oldest friend, but you are clearly not her friend if she thinks she could play this kind of game with you. You didn't go rampage or cursed her out. You just stepped back and don't play her games, saying to your friends and family you stepped down instead of the truth. I'm fully on your side. This so-called friendship is doomed or is down, and get your money back, for real. T4 Pterosaur says, I love how people seem to think you will regret not going, and not that she should regret her crappy behavior throwing away your friendship because she's jealous of you. I wouldn't go to a wedding where the bride appointed me maid of honor, let me pay for all the stuff related to that, and then kick me out of the bridal party for any reason, but hers is particularly pathetic. I think most of my friends are hotter than me, but I'm not a pathetic baby, so it's fine. Not the a-hole. Not August, but Ordinary says, I wouldn't go to the wedding, and I would be issuing a demand for recompense of all your expenditure that was incurred as a result of being maid of honor. Assuming, of course, that you haven't as yet attended the bachelorette. She should have realized that with this request, she was letting her insecurities destroy a lifelong friendship and has revealed that she has always been jealous of you. Your mother and stepfather don't want you to raise a fuss because they are worried it will destroy their friendship with the bride's family. So their viewpoint is coming from a selfish perspective and not looking at the hurt this has caused for you. In the end, though, I have to say that I've cut off friends and family for hurts like this, and sometimes I regret that. But in doing so, I'm remembering the good times, and not that the hurtful behavior was a part of a series of events whose continuation I no longer suffer. And Hidden Vixen 21 says, not the a-hole. Her decision shows she's not actually your friend. Friends don't actually care if you're prettier than them, and honestly, I think your boyfriend sucks for still going. He should stand by you. His friend fiance disrespected you. He should see they are a unit and realize you two are a unit. If one of them hurts you, it should hurt him. Anyone who tells you to swallow disrespect cares more about their peace than your well-being. And Opie responds, well, he said I should also not go. And I was like, no, let's not become those people. It's not a boycott. If I didn't want him to go, he wouldn't. But if he didn't, then Sophie's brother would know why, and then it would become a whole big thing. Plus, then his sister, who is also my friend, would feel like she shouldn't go, and I just didn't want to start the domino effect. Especially since I don't even know if I intend to tell anyone why I'm not going. Alright, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, so let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. So, I don't know if anyone wanted an update, but the situation has somewhat concluded now, and I thought I would provide some closure. Before that, I'd like to clarify that the spotlight my mom was referring to is specifically male attention, and I guess looks-based attention generally from people we meet. And yes, I'm aware of that, but that's not what I consider to be spotlight, or not to be end-all anyway. Sure, I get approached more by men, but Sophie was always the one with more friends, better grades, the person teachers actually liked, she was in clubs and well-known. I consider all that to even out or even swing in her favor, honestly. But yeah, it's true I never realized that the male looks and attention thing bothered her that much. But to be fair, mothers do pick up on things about your friendships when you're younger that sometimes you don't. Sophie never let on that this one thing bugged her to this extent. The thing is, I probably would forgive her if she ever bothered to apologize, but clearly she still thinks she's in the right here. Now to the update. Firstly, some digging was done by my boyfriend and myself, and we think we found the root or roots of the issue. A couple of months ago, my boyfriend, Sophie's brother, the groom, and Sophie were out for drinks. I remember this night I had an event for another friend and couldn't go. Over drinks, the groom apparently asked when my boyfriend was going to propose to me, and my boyfriend said, probably sometime next year. The groom then made a comment to the effect of, why would you wait that long? She's perfect. Now, according to both my boyfriend and Sophie's brother, Sophie was really mad about this because the groom waited several years to propose to her. She's been bringing it up to him regularly since. Obviously, we all assume he meant perfect for you. Not literally perfect, but Sophie appears to be taking it personally. The second thing is that my mother did a little gentle probing, and it turns out that at the bridesmaid fitting, Sophie's mom told Sophie that she should have chosen a dress that wasn't going to make me look better than her. I don't think she said it like that to Sophie, this is just how she related to my mom, and draw attention. According to Sophie's mom, her aunt and cousin said the same thing and I guess ganged up on her about it. She has also been on Sophie about a pre-wedding diet. So it seems like these two things got blown out of proportion and ended up in Sophie's request that I not be maid of honor. I ended up deciding not to speak to Sophie about any of this. She's planning her wedding, she should enjoy this time, and I don't want to make this about me or our friendship. And if I'm being totally honest, I was kind of done with the friendship after the initial conversation. I wanted to know the reasons for my own peace of mind, but the truth is, nothing was going to change the fact that she took her feelings out on me, who only ever wanted to support her. None of these things came from me or anything to do with me, but she chose to take a wrecking ball to a 20-year friendship rather than confront the people who upset her. I can't wrap my head around that, and I'm not going to try going forward. That being said, I decided to go to the wedding as my boyfriend's plus one essentially, just for closure to this entire mess. Now that I've calmed down, I really don't feel any particular way about going. I'll eat, I'll drink, I'll clap, and Sophie will just be the wife of my boyfriend's friend from now on, I guess. I haven't told anyone why I am not maid of honor. I just said in the group chat that it was for personal reasons and everyone can speculate. Once the wedding is over, I'll tell our mutual friends the truth and they can do with that information what they will. Sophie has reached out since to talk, but I sent her a message telling her that I'll be at the wedding as a guest and that I hope she enjoys this time in her life and wishing her the best, and haven't been replying to anything else. It surprised me how quickly I've reached the numbness of just not caring anymore, but that's where I'm at. I genuinely wish her the best, but I have just zero interest in being part of her life anymore. I just can't see her or anything about our friendship the same way anymore. So that's that. Thank you to everyone who commented. Well, OP, it sounds like the drama-free, stress-free solution. You don't really have feelings about it anymore, you're just going to enjoy the wedding night with your boyfriend that he's invited to and you're the plus one. And then you're moving on. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit entitled People and it's by user DesignerProcess1295. Friend expected me to pay for everything. I just had to cut off an old friend that I rekindled with after I had my son. She has 2 boys. Her and her husband are separated but still married legally and living together. Recently, we went to a fair where she expected me to pay for everything. Every time we've ever went anywhere, I'd pay. The last time we went out, I suggested Applebee's because it's cheaper and I don't mind paying usually, and she said she was expecting something more fancy, as if it was a date. Mind you, I am also married, happily. I just laughed it off and went to Applebee's anyways. Well, recently we go to the fair with our kids for a play date, where never once did I say I was paying because I am not a millionaire and I can't afford to take a family of 3 plus me and my son, and so really a family of 5 to the fair. We get there and I'm buying the pass for my son and myself, and she said she left her wallet in her car. No big deal, I'll pay and then she can just Venmo me. I pay for all the passes, we go on rides, we are having fun, and it's time to eat. We get food at the fair, which was extremely expensive, and her kids are just yelling out what they want and she has absolutely no control of them, so I hurry to order everything, and this girl has the nerve to add hella more food to the order, which comes out to $110. After we eat, it's getting really hot, our kids are tired, so I ask her, hey, before we leave, can you Venmo me? She looks me dead in the eyes and said she had no money and that she's broke. Her husband cut her off basically. And I told her, if you knew that, why the F did you suggest the fare and why did you say you would Venmo me? She said because I don't understand since me and my husband have both good paying jobs and she's a stay-at-home mom so it's harder. I don't know what to say. I just kind of said, okay, put my son in a stroller, got up to leave and she follows me with her kids. As we are leaving, she has the nerve to say she wishes they could go into this escape room not included in the passes I bought everyone and keeps looking at me like with these begging face. Honestly, it made me feel disgust, so I said no, we need to go back, it's getting late and my kids need a nap. We both say bye. Same day, she's calling and texting, asking for the next hangout and inviting herself to my house, saying she can come right now with her boys. I say, I'll get back to her. Now it's been 4 days and she calls and texts me every day, which I don't respond to. After I told my husband about everything, he told me to absolutely cut her off and that it's trifling and she's completely taking advantage of me. Has anyone else ever experienced something like this? Well, OP, not exactly like that, but I was once in a similar situation where I got taken advantage of and that was the last time I ever paid for that person. First and last, never again. So OP, I'd say cutting this person off is definitely the right call. This is not a friend. This is somebody who wants to live off of you. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section and let's quickly check out the community comments. Carlos Fair 2201 says, just send her Venmo requests for the money she owes you and she won't contact you anymore. Or I guess keep asking her what her Venmo ID is if you still don't have it. Luxo Dad says, if she said she left her wallet in her car, the reaction should have been, go get it. I and my son will be inside. Catch you when you get it. Same for the meal. Should have asked the server for separate checks right at the outset. And Ye Olde Git says, simply just block her. She's a user and used you big time. She knew she had no money, so lied and cajoled you into paying, saying she'll pay later, knowing she couldn't do it. You don't need friends like her, and as for coming to your house, don't even dare. You'll never get rid of her. She will leech you dry. She says she was a stay-at-home mom. Well, she needs to sort her life, get a job, etc. and stop relying on other people paying to make her feel happy. Her marriage is over, so she says she's going to learn to move on without squandering friendships like she did yours. Well, the community agrees. You need to drop the dead weight. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. I texted her and said exactly how I feel. I said, hey, I know you've been texting and calling to hang out and schedule, but honestly, I'm not really interested unless you can pay me back for the other day. I spent a lot of money and you lied to me and told me you Venmo. I feel like you took advantage of me because we were in front of the kids when I asked you to pay me back. I would never do that to you. You're just assuming that we are well off because we both work, when in reality, it's because we budget. If you had been straightforward that you didn't have money, I would have brought snacks and could have gone to the free splash pad or the park or literally anything free. She got mad and her response was, what do you expect from me? I'm depressed and going through a divorce and have no money. I tell you the truth and then you use it against me? You're just holding everything you paid for over my head when I never asked you to do that. Shake my head. To which I responded, you literally did ask me for that. What the F you said you were going to Venmo me and literally lied to my face and made sure to wait until after I paid for everything. I get you're depressed and I'm sorry for what you're going through, but that has no correlation to you lying and waiting until after I paid to guilt trip me. She deflected with, I have enough going on right now. I really don't need to be dealing with this, honestly. I was done with that, so I just straight up asked, so, are you going to pay me back or not? And she said, no, you don't need me to pay you back. You're doing just fine. You're just a greedy person. You literally have your husband paying for everything. You have no idea what it's like to struggle, and I'm struggling so bad right now. We are staying together for the kids, but he doesn't help me with anything, and I never have money. To that I said, you literally showed up with Starbucks though. And then she said, you're going to be like that and watch all my expenses? Why are you even texting me? I don't want to be friends with someone that's going to hold everything over my head. You're just a greedy person. You think you're better than me, and you're not. You always look down on people. I never should have told you crap about my marriage because you clearly don't even care. I never responded to her last text and just blocked her. Yeah, OP, well done, dropping the dead weight. Good for you, OP. So here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a quick mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user MouseHowl737. You want the chocolate ice cream? Okay kid, you win. A short one that happened to me. I was maybe 10 or 11 years old at sleepaway camp. One night at the mess hall, the dessert served was ice cream. Random servings of vanilla and chocolate dishes on the table. First come, first served. I really wanted chocolate and I guess I put up a pretty big stink about it because the counselor at the table whispered something to the kitchen staff and suddenly I had a bowl of chocolate ice cream that was 3 to 4 times bigger than the usual serving. He told me I had to eat the whole thing right then and there. A few minutes later, I had a bloated stomach, massive brain freeze, and I had learned a valuable lesson. Well, OP, you did want ice cream and you got a lot of it. Thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.